Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. That's dead right. If the head right, Biggie there, every night. Papa been smooth since days of under rules. Never lose, never choose to. Bruise, cruise, who? Do something to us. Talk, go through us. Girls walk to us, wanna do us, screw us. Who us? Yeah, Papa and Pump. Close like Starsky and Hutch. Stick to clutch. Yeah, I squeeze 3 at your cherry M3. Bang every MC easily.
Take that.
Easily. Recently, niggas frontin' ain't saying nothing, so I just speak my peace. Keep my peace. Cubans with the Jesus peace. With my peace. Packing, asking who want it. You got it, nigga, flaunt it. That Brooklyn bullshit, we on it.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake.
I put hoes in NY onto DKNY. Miami, DC, prefer Versace.
That's right.
All Philly hoes know it's Moschino. Every cutie with the booty, boy, the coochie. Now who's the real dookie? Meaning who's really the shit? Them niggas ride dicks. Frank White pushed the 6 called the Lexus LX 4.5. Bulletproof glass tips if I want some ass. Gon' blast squeeze first, ask questions last. That's how most of these so-called gangsters pass. At last, a nigga rapping about blunts and broads, tits and bras, menage a trois, sex and expensive cars, and still leave you on the pavement. Condo paid for, no car payment. At my arraignment, note for the plaintiff. Your daughter's tied up in the Brooklyn basement. Face it, not guilty. That's how I stay true. Richer than richer, so you niggas come and get me. Come on.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake.
I can fill you with real millionaire shit. That's cargo, my cargo. 160, swiftly. Wreck it by your new one. Your crew run. Your crew run. I know you sick of this name brand nigga with flows. Girl, say he's sweet like licorice. So get with this, nigga, it's easy. Girlfriend, here's a bitch. Call me round 10, come through, have sex on rubs, that's Persian.
Right.
Come up to your job, hit you while you're working, for certain. Papa freaking, not speaking, leave that ass leaking like rapper demo. Tell them who, take their clothes off slowly. Kill them with the force like Kobe, dick black like Kobe, watch me roam like Romy. Lucky they don't owe me, where to say, show me, homie.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love.
Oh my God, what an abrupt ending that was. All right, we're back. Degen Fantasy hanging out on Friday. Bri looks very upset. This can only be. Oh, I'm on mute.
No, you're not.
I'm not? I thought I was.
No, you're good. You're good.
Bri looks so upset right now. What's going on, Bri? How you feeling today?
I'm good. Just looking at these slate of games. It's giving me a little heartburn.
Yeah, rough fucking week for ranked matchups. Looks like we're gonna have a ton of ass whoopings. Where do you want to start? Tell me how the gambling's been going. Actually, talk to me about your gambling lately.
Well, let's talk about last Friday. We gave out Saturday picks. Yep. So I gave out Bama, Tennessee, first half under, UGA, Texas, first half under, and Luke Altmaier under 200 passing yards. And that was 1, 2, 3, and 0.
Woo! He's on fire. So the hot streak is still on right now. Is that what you're saying to me right now?
I mean, it never left.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's peel the curtain back a little bit and reveal that last night I put an ungodly sum of money on what was Liberty. I believe Liberty. Was it Liberty?
Yeah, Liberty and Kennesaw State.
Yeah, I put a nice chunk of cash on Liberty minus 26.5. What happened in that game, sir?
I mean, that's like an App State Michigan game, I feel like. You had Kennesaw State, who hadn't won a game all year, 0-6. Liberty was 6-0. they just needed to survive to be in the playoffs conversation. And they go to Kennesaw State and they can't stop their offense, which was surprising. They're averaging like 13.5 points a game. And I think they gave up, 24, 27?
24 or something. Yeah, it was either 24 or 27.
I mean, they had 14 points, I think, in the first 3 drives of the game. So it's like, Liberty, what the fuck were you guys doing?
Yeah, I flipped that game on, I think it was the third quarter, and they were down by 3, and I was like, what the fuck happened here? I've watched Kennesaw State play before. They are fucking objectively terrible. Like, they are very fucking bad. And Liberty is not very bad, it was very confusing as to what the fuck was going on. Liberty didn't have any, like, big injuries, did they?
No. I mean, it was pretty much a straight-up game. They just got their ass kicked.
Kind of seems like maybe somebody took a dive, possibly, for a little money line parlay they had on the Kennesaw State Owls. And you know what? You can't really put it past a bunch of 18-year-olds playing on some shitty teams. You know what I mean? Hey, we could band our money together, and we could all fucking make a little, like a boatload. I mean, that fucking money line was like $750, had to have been. Yeah, fucking crazy. All right, where are we starting, Bri? Give me a game, and we'll start there.
Let's just start at the top. Notre Dame Navy.
Oh God, I was hoping we didn't have to go over this one. I am not as a Notre Dame fan. You can see the fucking Brady Quinn jersey over my fucking shoulder, or any 10 before him. Really, that was the 10 I grew up with. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. I'm curious to see what you have to say, so go ahead. But I'm fucking nervous going into this one.
So Notre Dame's top cornerback, All-American Benjamin Morrison, is going to be out for the game, which is not a good thing for Navy. Now, Navy doesn't throw the ball very often. They throw the ball, I think it's like 13 times a game is what they're averaging. But here's a couple points. So Navy's 4th in the nation in points per game. They score 44.8 points per game. Notre Dame is 26th in the nation in points scored per game. They score 34.6 points per game. So 2 really good offenses. I think this game goes over. I like the over 50.5. I think the spread's probably where it should be at 13.5. Yeah. But I'm rocking with the over on the total with 2 competent offenses that I believe will be able to score some points. They're both 2 extremely efficient offenses. They score on a lot of drives. So they might not have as many drives as some of the other teams like Oregon or Ohio State. But when they do have drives, they normally cash in. So I like 50.5. I think someone gets to 30.
Yeah, I tend to agree with the take here. The spread is right. I struggled with the 13.5 because I really fucking, what's up, Blue Jays? But I really fucking think that it should be right around 13.5 to 14.5. When you look at this game, Navy, the service schools are doing this thing where they're switching up and fucking they're starting to throw the ball a little bit more, and it's really fucking annoying that they're starting to add this little wrinkle to their game, and you can see it now. Like you're preparing for triple option, and then sometimes they're just going to drop back in a pro style offense and throw the fucking ball. So that's fucking annoying as shit. But you're really seeing, I mean, it's between Army and Navy right now, and one of these teams might be in the playoff at the end of the year. That's how fucking crazy this is. Real quick, Blue Jays, we're not talking NFL right now, but I'm all over Hubbard this week because Bryce Young is quarterback, so they're going to have to run, right? Like, there's nothing else they could possibly fucking do. They're not going to throw the ball. Usage on Hubbard's going to be fucking enormous. Deontay Johnson's out. Adam Thielen's out. And on top of it, the only guy that can actually throw the fucking ball in Carolina, Andy Dalton, got into a car wreck and he's not playing. So I would maybe Hubbard. Yes, not Bigsby. I think Bigsby goes down after that big ass week. But going back to it, Navy and Army competing for a playoff spot. So this game means a fuckload to Navy. If they win, they have the front track to be like the representative of the Power 5 or Power 6 conference, whatever the fuck.
Group of 5.
I think, Group of 5. If they fucking win this game, they shoot to the top of the list, in my opinion, anyways. I think Army's the more talented of the service schools, anyways, but this is going to be either a really tight, low-scoring game, or I think Notre Dame gets out on top like they usually do. And beat the fuck out of Navy quite a bit. I still like the total to go over. I think we're seeing at least 55, 57, something around there points-wise. But I am not touching the fucking spread. These spreads this week are fucking disgusting, and I want nothing to do with these fucking spreads whatsoever. But, yeah, give me – what do you think final score is for this game?
I'll say Notre Dame 38 – Navy 24.
Okay, I like it. All right, I'm going to pick the next game. Let's bounce around a little bit. Let's go to a matchup that I think is very interesting. And when you're giving me 18.5 points, I'm interested when it's Vandy you're giving me the points on. I think they have covered all of the double-digit spreads that they've had this year. I'm almost positive, and outright upset a couple teams in those games as well. I think Vandy's live as fuck again. Texas got welcomed to real SEC football last week. Let's put it that way. Like I said, like we said here, and if you were listening, I really hope you did. We said here that this is going to go one of two ways. Either Texas gets embarrassed or Texas invites everyone to the fucking, the bell of the ball conversation. So when you look at Texas versus Vandy, we got an over under of 51.5. I feel like that's a lot of fucking points. What do you think about this game?
So Vanderbilt is 11th in the nation in time of possession. So they possess the ball. They have long drives. They're the perfect team for keeping the game close. And if you look at the last 5 games, nothing can be more true. So they lost on the road by 4. They've lost on the road by 3. They've won at home by 5. They've won at home by 7, and they won at home against Ball State last week by 10. So all of the last 5 games have been, there's only one double-digit win. And they've played, the middle of the schedule was Missouri, Alabama, Kentucky, and they played them all within a touchdown. So I do like Vanderbilt, 17.5. I think they keep it close. I don't think they're going to win, but I think 18.5 is too many points to lay. I just have concerns about – so Texas obviously got their doors beat in last week against Georgia. They have to go on the road again to Vanderbilt. We'll see how they recover, but yeah, I'm not laying 18.5, especially on a Vanderbilt team that possesses the ball as well as they do.
Yeah, and when you look at the wins Vanderbilt has, and like you said, the close losses, beating Kentucky, that's not an easy team to beat. Like, they're stout defensively. I know they've lost a couple of times, but really overall a solid team. That big win over Alabama, too, they have on their fucking, on the report card for this year as well. This is a complete team, in my opinion. They possess the fuck out of the ball, like Bryce said. Okay, is Texas, because this line started at 19, it has just moved down to 18, like right before my eyes. Is Texas, if Texas plays a close game to Vandy, are they in trouble here, like for the playoff, you think? No, you think they're pretty much cemented in here?
Yeah, I feel like Texas can afford another loss.
And Vandy's not the worst loss, right?
Well, I think they have more games ahead that they could potentially lose, but I think a 2-loss SEC team still makes the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so pick the next game for us, Bry, and we'll move.
Let's go Oregon, Illinois.
All right, we got probably the scrappiest fucking team in the Big Ten right now. Illinois playing Oregon. Illinois played close in a lot of games. What do you see in this game?
So last week we gave out last Friday we gave out the Friday game. We said go under on the Oregon Purdue game. I think I got a lot of hate for that. I got some text messages saying that's crazy. Oregon's going to do it by themselves. They only won 35-0. So they went on the road on a short week after an emotional loss. It happened exactly how we thought it was going to happen. They went out big in the first half and then kind of slowed down. Some self-inflicting issues on offense that they didn't score. But for the most part, it wasn't even close to the total. So I like the under again, 54.5. Illinois can play good defense. They held Penn State to 21 points on the road. This game's at home. Now, I believe Oregon has a more dynamic offense than Penn State. So they may score, let's say, 30, 35 points. But I don't see Illinois scoring 20 to get you to the number. So I like the under 54.5 on this game. Oregon unders have been cash.
Yeah, and that's I'm definitely talent on that one. That's a good. This spread is 22.5. Now I know we have it listed at 21, but that was from earlier this morning. Can't touch the spread on this one. I actually think Illinois probably keeps it pretty tight because they have played great teams before. They really did hang in there with fucking Penn State. And that I think means quite a bit when Penn State beats the shit out of almost everyone they play. So I think you get a close game here again. But that Illinois team total, I think it's sitting at like 14.5. I don't think they go anywhere close to going over that. I'm not touching it. Of course, the only thing that really leaps out off the page is that 54.5 under. I don't think Illinois scores more than 10 points really, but that's just what I think. All right, I'm going to give you, let's go Bama, Missouri. We'll take, we'll save that LSU Texas A&M game for last. How do you see this game going?
It's a scary game because the injury report came out and Missouri's starting quarterback and leading rusher are on it. So we don't know if they're going to be playing or not. I'm going to make the assumption because this is a huge game for Missouri that they're going to play. So Cook, I believe plays, and Noel, I believe plays. So assuming that they play and assuming that they're close to 100%, I like Missouri plus 17.5. Missouri is 19th in rushing defense. And if there's something that Alabama likes to do is they like to get Milroe out in space and they like to run the rock. So I think Missouri stays in this game. It's a home game for them. Bama has to travel. I think 17.5 is too much to lay. I think it's going to be a closer game. I think it might actually be a single-digit game. And I think Missouri will keep it close.
All right. So what if I told you that Missouri was going to Tuscaloosa? What would you say?
I probably have the same opinion.
Same opinion. Okay, good. All right. So yeah, it's gonna be at Alabama, but I'm very, very confused as this opening for the over under it opened at 56.5. It's already been bet down to 50.5. And the spread has only gone up. I don't understand if the total's going down at such an alarming rate. Why is this spread shooting up the way it is? Do you see this?
The spread shot up after they announced the injury report. When Cook was listed and Noel was listed, I believe the line was 14 and it went to 17.5. And then obviously they're not expecting Missouri to score as many points. So the total went down after the injury report came out. So that's the reason for the line movement. I still believe that they're going to play, but be careful on this game. Before you bet it, make sure that you know who's playing and who's not. it's kind of touch and go right now. You want to be fully informed before you put your money on this matchup.
Yeah, exactly. As with any SEC matchup we've seen this year, it can go any which way whatsoever. It's a wild year in the SEC this year. All right, in your opinion, Alabama, do they make it to the college football with 3 losses? Let's say they lose. I mean, they do have some fucking tough matchups coming up. They got Missouri here. They got LSU next week. They play Oklahoma at the end of the year and Auburn. I mean, I know Auburn's not great this year, but it's still the fucking, it's still a rivalry game. So if they lose 3 games, can they still make the playoff?
I mean, it would be really borderline at that point. I think their toughest game is either going to be this Missouri game or next week in Death Valley. I'm assuming that's a night game. Yeah, the LSU game scares me for Bama. But yeah, I think it gets really close because they would have a loss to Vanderbilt. They'd have a loss to, they beat Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. They only have 1 loss right now?
They have 2. They lost to Vandy and they just lost to Tennessee.
And Tennessee, that's right. Yep. So yeah, they'd have Vandy, Tennessee, and either Missouri or LSU.
LSU next week, yeah, absolutely.
I think I wouldn't want to be in a position of having 3 losses and hoping the committee puts me in. Now, the Alabama name obviously enhances their resume without even looking at it, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, I think there's going to be so many 2-loss teams that a 3-loss team is going to be outside looking in.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is that's the real hard number. You talk about like the BCS system, it was 1 loss. Like if you had more than 1 loss, you were fucked. With this college football system, I think it's got to be 3. There's got to be a hard cap. You can't have fucking 3-loss teams walking into the conversation for the best team in college football. You just can't. That's bullshit. All right, so got a good read on those games. One game that I was a little surprised to see that LSU was an underdog to Texas A&M. I know they're playing at Kyle Field or whatever the fuck they call it. But are you shocked to see that they are the underdog here as well?
Yes, no. I'd say Texas A&M's playing some really good football. I think they've won their last 5 in a row.
Yep.
And LSU, they're hot too. So on a neutral field, you would say LSU's a 2-point favorite, but because it's at Kyle Field, they get some points for home field advantage. So I feel like the spread is fairly right. It's probably closer to a pick'em game to me. But yeah, I'm not offended by +1 by Vegas setting the odds here.
Okay, not offended, but which team is better, in your opinion?
I think LSU is a little bit better. LSU has some deficiency in pass defense, and USC was able to exploit that the first game of the season. I don't think they've necessarily improved on it as much. They haven't really played highly passing teams to exploit it. I think Texas A&M could potentially do it, but I see this game as a shootout. I like 54.5. I like the over. If I just look at what LSU's done over the last 5 games, they scored 34, 29, 42, 34, 36. And A&M scored 34, 41, 21, 26, and 33. That gets us to the number fairly easily. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be one of those back-and-forth games. It might be one of the best games of the year.
Oh, high hopes for this one. I like to see it. If you would have told me like a year or even 2 years ago that you wanted an over in the Texas A&M game, I would have told you you're fucking crazy. But they did find what appears to be an offense. And I guess that's what happens when you replace Jimbo Fisher finally and get a real head coach in there that can actually like scheme up some shit. Like I think we both agree Elko is one of the better coaches in college football, really. I'm curious to see. I really hate Brian Kelly. I think everyone's very aware that I don't like Brian Kelly. So I'm very hopeful that Texas A&M comes out and smacks the fuck out of LSU so they can't make the playoff and make Brian Kelly a happy little leprechaun that he is. All right, one game we don't have on the board right now, and I just want to get your take on Ashton Jeanty, really. He's running the ball for the Boise State Broncos. He's got a what I think is like a dream fucking matchup, but it seems like maybe every week is a dream fucking matchup for him because he just can't be stopped. He's got a dream matchup against UNLV. They're only favored by 4, Boise State. Am I crazy to want to just unload everything I have on Boise State -4 tonight?
I'd be careful. And the reason I say that is just I really like this UNLV team. I think they can throw the ball. I think they are explosive. I'd be careful with it. Now, I feel like this is the conference, right? The winner of this wins the conference. So it's one of those games where each team has to win. And desperate teams, I don't know who's more desperate, Boise or UNLV. Probably UNLV, but I wouldn't be betting everything on Boise. I think Boise's probably the right side. What's the total on that game?
Total is right now sitting at, hold on 2 seconds.
Close to 60, I would assume.
Yeah, it's got to be 63 and a half.
63 and a half. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
that's
two
a fucking
high-powered
total
offenses, and it just takes one turnover for you to get busted. So, that's where I don't like taking sides when these teams are fucking throwing the ball all over the field and running up and down. It just takes one turnover and it changes the entire game, and it flips. So I don't want to risk my money on a turnover or potential turnover. I generally play totals in shootout type matches. But yeah, if you're gonna play it, I think Boise's probably the right side, but I wouldn't unload the house on it.
All right, let's do a quick game real quick. What do you think the total is on Ashton Jeanty's rushing prop? How many yards?
185.
193 and a half.
Yeah.
193 and a half, dude. Wow. I cannot believe that is the fucking the line. I mean, this guy Heisman, right? He's 2-1 right now for the Heisman. I mean, he cannot not be the Heisman, right?
He's going to break Barry Sanders' record.
Yeah, I mean, easily. I'm trying to look his stats up right now just to see what kind of yardage he has. He has 1,248 fucking yards already.
Mm-hmm. In what, 5 or 6
games? 6 games. 6 games. So he's averaging 200 a game. That's fucking absurd, dude. I might take that over. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, cool.
And he sat the second half of one of those games too.
You know what? He's one of the few guys that I just have not watched this year, like live. Have you seen him play?
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. Yeah. He just jumps off the screen like that much, or what?
I mean, he's going to be the first running back taken in the draft. I mean, I can't think of another running back that's going to go before him. Now, obviously, the type of competition he plays is not as high as some of these other Power 5 schools, but he did it against Oregon. He had over 150 yards against Oregon.
Jesus Christ. So this kid's
it's not like it's not like he's not doing it against some of the best defenses in the nation. So
he's going to be a first rounder, you think?
Yeah, I would assume he goes like a Bijan somewhere in that area, like
Jesus,
like 9-10, somewhere maybe top 15.
All right, we got a question on YouTube. Aldo Guevara. Guevara? I don't know. Aldo says Bijan for Olave and McBride. He's in a full PPR. He gets the Olave side. His other running backs are Kyron, Derrick Henry. Current tight end is Kincaid. What do you think,
Brian? Kyron, Henry. I mean, do you need McBride if you have Kincaid?
Yeah, I just feel like this is a pretty. What are you getting?
I feel like it's pretty even, but for what your team has, do you need McBride?
Do you need fucking Olave? I don't. What kind of wide receivers you working with? Because I don't think you want to trade into a Saints offense that is like being led by Spencer Rattler. Is Derek Carr coming back anytime soon? Do we know?
I have no idea.
Oh my God, we got to get fucking Derek Carr. I've never thought I'd say that. We got to get him back on the field though before we're buying into this offense. I think. All right.
I mean, it depends. So to answer the question, I think you have to ask a couple other questions. Who are your wide receivers, right? Does Olave upgrade you at wide receiver? And two, how many weeks are you going to play McBride over Kincaid?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what is it going to get you, like, realistically? And you're losing Bijan. He's got high usage. Like, they want to get him going every fucking game. So I don't think you should do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, Bijan's your insurance policy in the event something shitty happens to your starting running backs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Brian, I'm going to give you the floor real quick. Give me one prop in the college games that you like this week.
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't even looked at props, to be honest with you.
All right, let's zone in on a game and give me a fucking prop that I can make a little bit of cash on before we end this very abrupt stream.
Let's look at the Penn State-Wisconsin game. I have a pretty good read on Penn State right now. Penn State, Wisconsin. It's a late game, so where are you?
Yeah, where the fuck is this game? Was it 7:30?
It is. Yeah, it's a late game on NBC.
We're on it. We're looking. I mean,
all right. So here's what I'll say about this Penn State game. So, they're coming off a bye. The game before they played USC, which was a crazy game. They were down 20-6 at halftime, and then Aller went off, and he ended up with close to 400 yards passing. I think he had over 400 yards passing. His passing number is only 200 yards, 204 yards. I think he goes over that. I think he will throw the ball quite a bit in this game. I think they want to put some stuff on tape for next week, which is against Ohio State. So I feel like there will be some new wrinkles that they're going to throw in. Just so Ohio State will have to think about it next week in what is probably going to be the biggest game Penn State's played in a decade.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game. All right, so I have Drew Aller over 204 pass yards and Nick Singleton to score a touchdown. That's a plus 190 to a little parlay there. I feel like that's an easy one. I'm going to throw a little cash on that right meow. And hopefully we come out with some cash afterwards. All right, Admiral, it was a short one. It was an easy one. Sunday, you get prepped for that fucking NFL slog that we have to go through.
I will not be here Sunday.
Oh, yes. Sunday I'm going by myself because Rocky Prop's filming a movie, so that's fantastic. One question before we dip out here. Paraco, I don't know. Trade Mahomes plus Brees for Kyron. Trade Mahomes plus Brees or Kyron for Jay Daniels, Pollard, and Neighbors. Redraft Superflex wide receiver 1 now is Jefferson, and other QBs are A. Rich and Jameis Winston. And I'm 2-5. Can't decide which RB to trade.
So you'd have Neighbors and Jefferson together. That's really hot.
Yeah, that's nice. And you get Jaden Daniels. That's not bad either.
Jaden Daniels. What's going on with Mahomes? Do we feel like Mahomes is going to rebound this year? He's not the same guy.
No, he's not the same guy, but I think if you're going to trade him right now, this is the time, because everyone's got to be high on him getting fucking DeAndre Hopkins' corpse in Kansas City. I can only imagine that DeAndre Hopkins is going to drink whatever fucking HGH they offer on the sidelines over there in Kansas City, and he's just going to turn back into 26-year-old DeAndre Hopkins, and they're going to win another Super Bowl. But yeah, you're right. I mean, more interceptions than touchdown passes, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of getting scary that Mahomes, I won't say that he's regressed, but he's not having a good year by any means.
No.
I would assume that you would want Daniels over Mahomes right now. And you'd put him in your lineup every week if you had both of them on your team. The question then becomes, okay, so let's just say it's Daniels for Mahomes straight up. You would do that. Yeah. Pollard and Neighbors, would you trade that for either Brees or Kyron?
No, fuck no, right? Like Kyron with the usage, and Brees, I feel like, is only going to get better throughout the year.
Yeah. So, I mean, does the difference between Mahomes and Daniels make that up? I think it's a pretty close trade.
It's close. I think it's a good trade. I think you're really not coming out any worse on either side. Pollard is a pretty decent wide receiver, running back number 2. Neighbors is a good wide receiver number 2. And realistically, that upgrade from Jaden Daniels, from Mahomes to Jaden Daniels is quite big right now. Like, Jaden Daniels is outscoring him at like a pretty insane clip. He's getting more yards, he's throwing more touchdowns, and he's got an added upside for rushing too. You really can't go wrong with this trade for his side, I think. It's just like, who do you get rid of? Do you get Brees? You get rid of Brees over Kyron, or Kyron over Brees? I would side with Mahomes plus Brees for the 3-man package over there, not Kyron.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'd go to. Just based off statistics, I feel like Kyron's been a higher scorer than Brees.
Absolutely.
The only thing that scares me is, does Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers' passing game open up the running game?
Yeah, and then you're looking at fucking Brees getting like 120 yards a game and shit like that. Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like the Pacheco theory, right? So if you put Pacheco on the Seattle Seahawks, is he as good of a running back as he is when Mahomes has 1,000 weapons that he can throw to, and it just opens up the running game? So that would be my fear of trading Brees, is that, okay, the Jets finally figure out this passing game, and then every time he touches the ball, it's pop for 8, pop for 7, pop for 12, right? I would probably lean towards Kyron at this point, because we haven't seen the fact that the Jets offense has been released, but just kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you're analyzing it, right?
The one thing that would give me pause with holding on to Kyron, we see that game last night with Puka and Cooper in that fucking lineup. They are a great team. I just, like, it's a completely different animal with Puka and Cooper in that lineup. So maybe you're selling high on Kyron at this point, and you're fucking collecting Brees, and Brees is fucking gonna maybe be in a very, I mean, you can't, like, you got Devontae Adams on one side, you got Garrett Wilson on the other. Like, even if you can't fucking throw the ball, like, eventually those two are going to figure it out. They're going to get open. Aaron Rodgers can still throw the ball. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I know he's not as good as he used to be, but he can still fucking get the ball where it needs to go. If these guys can start getting open, maybe the O-line gets a little bit healthier throughout the year, maybe, hopefully. And this is a slam dunk for you. You get rid of fucking Kyron at the fucking peak of Kyron when Puka's coming. Puka's already back. We didn't even know he was going to show up yesterday. And he fucking comes out and has like 150 yards fucking catching. So I think this is a good trade for you. And it looks like he agrees. That's kind of how I'm feeling too. And I think Brees has an easier playoff schedule if I'm even able to make it there. I agree. The Jets, I think, have like the 5th worst schedule going into the last weeks of the football season here. So they should have a lot of wins on that schedule. Definitely not dead to win the AFC East, by the way, either. I don't think, anyways. No. One thing I did want to ask you, you've watched Sam Darnold probably since he was in college at USC. You've seen him up until this point, and I find it very funny that, like, over the last 5 years, we have known quarterbacks like Geno Smith to be absolutely god fucking awful. And he goes to Seattle and he gets a fucking chance and he's a starting quarterback. Now you're seeing the same thing with fucking Sam Darnold, who I think everyone just kind of assumed was dead in the fucking water. I mean, he's got one of the most famous fucking quotes of all time. I'm seeing ghosts out there. Like, the kid was fucking memed to death. And now the Vikings are 5-2. They're coming off of 2 losses, which I don't actually blame them at all. I think that was a bad spot to see the Rams in and not know that Puka is going to be on the other side of the field too, as well as fucking Cooper Kupp. So is this it? Like, have the Vikings hit the ceiling and now they're going back down to fucking, where Sam Darnold used to be?
I mean, they play in a really tough division, right? So you got the Lions and you've got Jordan Love and the Packers. I feel like the Chicago Bears are getting better. So that's my only concern, right? So I think if they were in any other division, I feel like they're a playoff team. But yeah, they're probably going to have some tough divisional games coming up here. And I think the answer to your question has yet to be determined until we get through some of these divisional games.
Do you think that we see all 4 of these teams in the playoffs this year? We're live for it, right? We're live for it, though, right?
I feel like Chicago will run out of steam.
I'm hoping they do. I got a nice ticket on their under, so I'm hoping.
And if I were to guess, I'm not the biggest believer in Green Bay this year. I think they're still a year, maybe 2 years away. I mean, in the NFL, you can turn it around in a year or so. I mean, but I don't think that they haven't. I don't think they're that team yet, right? So
yeah,
I look at the NFC East. I think that's going to be a battle to the end with Washington, Philadelphia, and who the hell knows with Dallas. Yeah. You have the South. Who knows what the Bucs are going to be? So Mike Evans is hurt. Godwin's out for the year. Who's Baker going to be throwing to? I mean, that's who you would have assumed would be the division winner down there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the West, San Francisco.
Looking like the league finally caught up to San Francisco is what it's looking like.
San Francisco has more losses at this point in the season than they did all last year, correct?
Yeah, correct. And I'm almost positive the year before that as well.
So I think the NFC is wide open. I think the parity in the NFC is insane. It's up for grabs. So if a team can get hot and rattle off 3 or 4 wins in a row, they're going to be looking really good come playoff to get into the playoffs. Now you want to get hot at the right time, obviously. But if the goal is to just make the playoffs, if you can string a couple wins here in a row, I think whoever does that will make it in. So the entire conference is up for grabs.
It really is. And you look at the NFC West when it's like it's just a representative of like every other division really in the NFC. Seattle's at the top at 4-3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona 3-4, who a lot of people just kind of assumed they were dead in the water after losing a couple games in a row there. The Rams are at 3-4 now after that win yesterday. And San Francisco's at 3-4. Who the fuck's going to win that division? That's fucking absurd. And same thing, it's between Tampa Bay and Atlanta in the South, and Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, all separated by a game, basically. All separated by one fucking game, dude. This is.
I mean, I still assume that San Francisco is going to make it, win that division, but I mean, at the beginning of the season, I would have said there's no chance that San Francisco doesn't, and now I'm probably more like a 60% chance that they're going to win it. I think they're going to, but I mean, there's a very good possibility that they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. As it stands right now, Detroit, Washington, Minnesota, Green Bay, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Seattle and Atlanta would make the playoffs in the NFC. So pretty interesting, man. I'm very curious to see a couple props on if they could get 3 or 4 playoff teams in there. But yeah, that's about it for me. Bri, you got anything else before the weekend? You got props you want to give out for the NFL? You want to give picks out? What do you want to give out?
No, I do want to throw out a random stat here. Let me pull it up. So the World Series starts tonight. Yankees versus Dodgers. And I was just scrolling through Twitter. There are 90 different umpires in Major League Baseball, and the umpires are ranked from 1 to 90, right? And we already know who the umpires are going to be. So here's the rankings of the umpires based off of accuracy, balls and strikes, for all 7 games: 32, 73, 49, 60, 18, 37, 24. So the best umpire that's going to be calling a game in the World Series this year is ranked 18th out of 90. There's going to be a lot of strikeouts, I feel like. These umpires suck. And I feel like this is going to be I think they're going to be high-scoring games, but I think there's going to be a lot of strikeouts. And I feel like there's going to be some controversy this series if that is the rankings of the umpires going into it. There's going to be a shit call, and people are going to lose their minds. Now, I don't watch baseball as much as I used to, but I'm definitely going to tune in to the World Series this year. You have Betts and Shohei versus Judge and Soto. I mean, that's baseball's dream. They put 2 of the biggest markets, the 2 biggest markets in the World Series with all these superstars. It's going to be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, this is the only baseball series. This is the only baseball series in the last 10 years that I can remember that actually fucking matters, in my opinion. You get the 2 biggest fucking markets. Like you said, you get all the stars that you want in there too. Soto's he's a full-fledged star at this point in New York. It's going to be great to see him. He has lived up to all billing. If fucking Steinbrenner doesn't back up the goddamn Brinks truck and everything he owns to get Soto to stay with the fucking Yankees, 26. The fact that we're even thinking about letting the Mets take this fucking guy is just absurd to me. He's been the only one that's really actually played up to potential in the playoffs. Judge having another great fucking playoffs for the Yankees. That fucking guy. He gets a cold every time it fucking actually matters. Everything else, gravy. You hit 60 home runs in a year, you're fine, doesn't matter. But yeah, dude, this is a fucking dream. The only thing that would make this better is if Ohtani was actually pitching too on top of it. I would fucking love that. I actually might watch baseball for the first time and I don't even know how long. And that's how interesting this fucking series. Did Ohtani put like a $12 million bet on his under? We don't know. He could be fixing games. Why the fuck? If you have a ranking system out of 90, why would you not put the top 7 umpires for the World Series?
Because baseball's a dumb sport.
baseball is a dumb sport.
Don't get me wrong, I love baseball, but it's a dumb sport.
Yeah.
Other news, my Philadelphia Flyers, their backup goalie is fucking terrible. He is 0-3 for the season, and every single game has gone over. So if you see Fedotov as the goalie for the Flyers, bet the over and you will win. I think he's given up like 6 goals a game. So
fantastic. Brian, I'm gonna need a fucking email blast when that happens, buddy.
That is a trend that everyone should jump on. The Flyers over whenever their backup is playing. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They're that bad. So trying to think if I had anything else. I think that's it. I'm going to the Bengals-Eagles game in Cincinnati on Sunday.
Yeah,
I got to be there at I got to leave the house at 7:30 to go tailgate. So
it's on. It's fucking on, buddy. All right. Well,
for this shit.
Dude, you're gonna be plastered. It's gonna be a great time. You know it's man. I can't wait to see some of the videos that hit the group chat on that one. All right, Bri. Well, have a safe, nice trip. Don't get arrested. We got a stream next week that you'll be joining us on a couple times next week, really. But that's it for me and Bri. Everybody, let's cash a couple of tickets. Bri gave out some nice tickets there, and hopefully, we all get some cash. But that is going to do it for Degen Fantasy for this week. I will be back by myself like a lonely man fucking on Sunday. I don't even know what the fuck I'm going to talk about, Bri. I'll probably
should get a guest host for that week.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do something because I don't know. I don't even know. Anyways, we're out, guys. Hey, let's cash some tickets. Take it easy.
Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot hoes all on me. Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot hoes all on me. Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot hoes all on me. Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot hoes all on me. Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot hoes all on me. Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot hoes all on me. Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot hoes all on me. Back then, hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot hoes all on me.
Before I came up in the game, these hoes didn't show no love. They see me in the club and used to treat me like a scrub. They wouldn't holler cause my dollars wasn't swollen up. I bet they changed their mind when them 84s come rolling up. They see that I'm a star, now they wanna sit in my car. Now they wanna count my G's, smoke my weed and sip my bar. Now they used to love to diss me, now they rush to hug and kiss me. Now they telling all their friends when I leave how they miss me. Now 281-330-8004. Hit Mike Jones up on the low cause Mike Jones about to blow. Before the ice was